Hey everybody, it's Dave, and this is our post-Summit Surge team call. How about that? We'll call it that. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to join us tonight. I'm going to try and keep it rather brief. That's not really a specialty of mine, but we'll do our best. So a little bit of a recap of Summit from me. Then I want to hear from hopefully a couple of other people about their experience at Summit. And then I want to get into a little bit of the announcements and show you something that I've created that will hopefully make your life a little bit easy, and then talk about some of the new stuff we have coming up or have recently launched and have coming up, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So let's just dive into it. So Summit, this was my 10th Summit, which means I've been to all of them. The first Summit, as Lee will remember, I just really showed up for the party. I wasn't really a active coach at the time. I was more of a, Monica needed somebody to be a coach, and that was me. And so I was a coach. And I showed up for the party because we were going to Maui the next day. And the next day, we went off to Maui, and I really kind of thought this whole thing was a little hokey, and I wasn't into it. And I thought it was a scam, honestly. And I met all these incredible people, and they were from all walks of life: military, firefighters, public service jobs, teachers, corporate America people, accountants, doctors. I mean, just from every walk, stay-at-home moms. I mean, every kind of walk of life you could think of. I met all these incredible people, and they were all doing this really cool work that literally brought them to tears. And I was so moved by that. I had never seen anything like that about people who really, really loved their work. I didn't love what I was doing. And I was just so stunned and moved by that whole experience that I had to really consider taking a good hard look at it. And I was very fortunate at this time. This is one of the benefits of being founders. The downside is that you're starting a company that doesn't have any products, including Shakeology at the time. And I was very fortunate that both Carl Deichler and John Congdon, our CEO and president, took a real interest in me because I was not interested in being a coach. And so they wanted to know why. And they asked me a lot of questions, and I gave them a lot of objections, I'm sure most of which you guys have heard. And over the years, just from the people who have given you objections. And they said at the end, John Congdon, our president, pulled me aside and he said, listen, if we do this thing the right way and we address your concerns and we build it with integrity and we stay fitness first and, making money and building a business second, will you join us? And I thought, oh man, what do you say when someone like John Congdon, who you've just spent, 4 or 5 days getting to know, says something like that to you? I mean, the guy runs $1 billion company at this point. What are you supposed to say? So of course I said yes. And then I just sat and I waited and I watched and I listened and I started to pay closer attention. This was in March of 2008 when we were all in Hawaii. By the end of 2008, I was all in for this thing. I mean, it just took me a really long time to come around with who we are and what we do and kind of get the vision for it. But once I did, I really started to attack the business and really fell in love with who we are as coaches. This Summit, it was really a return to that. I felt, we've had a number of summits. I'd say probably the last 2 for sure, and maybe it's even the last 3, where I'm not sure we were on track. And I think a lot of us felt that, and a lot of us tried to communicate that feeling to corporate and to sort of say, it just doesn't feel quite right. And there was something about this summit that was really unique, and Ryan is going to talk about it later because we had a really good talk today about kind of what that was. But there was just something, I don't know. For me, Ryan does a better job of articulating it, so I'll leave that for him. But for me, there was something going on I can't really articulate. I couldn't really articulate, at least until I talked to him earlier. But that was really special, and it was about getting back just who we are and what we do and what our core mission is, which is to help people achieve their goals and live healthier and more fulfilling lives. And yeah, it was just I came back so jazzed and just excited to be a coach and do this thing, and just that the work is so far from done. I think my signature moment, if you watch The Surge, I think it was Kim. Somebody's making some noise too, like wind or whatever, if you can mute yourself. I think it was Kim Fitzpatrick earlier talked about how Carl stood on stage and he had this empty chair next to him. And I posted this in the group, and you guys should go read that story. That was an incredible moment for me. It was a moment where Carl was really understanding, what was that he had a blind spot in what was going on for him, which is that he doesn't do what we do, and we've kind of talked to him about that for a while. But it's not that anybody was saying. I think it was sort of like for me, it was kind of a Donald Trump moment. Like, Trump has a hard time disconnecting the Russians may have been interfering with our election from he didn't win. and I think for a while for Carl it was that way, where it was like, dude, you don't do what we do. He heard you're not working hard. And that's the worst thing you could possibly tell a guy like Carl, right? Because he's the hardest working human being I've ever met. Literally. I mean, the hardest working human being ever. Well, I met Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary's maybe a close they're on the same level though. That's not the case. He just doesn't do what we do. He does a very different thing. And for him to dig in and learn and go and mentor a big group of coaches and listen as much as he taught, to just listen, for me was a huge turning point in just where we're at as a business. And it was such a positive thing and such an incredible moment. So if you weren't at Summit, I really want to encourage you to get to Summit next year. Tickets are on sale now. They're $145. They'll probably be close to $200, if not more. I don't know what the full price ticket's going to be, but they'll probably be up in the $200 range at least. And if somebody knows that, go ahead and type it in the chat. I didn't. There's so much information. $295. They're going to be close to $300. So you can get one now until Sunday. I think it is. I took some notes until Sunday. For $145. This is a half price ticket to go to something that, again, Ryan's going to talk about in a little bit, that has changed so many people's lives, including mine, right? Like, that's where it started for me, was at that Summit experience where I sort of got to meet everybody. And I was like, yeah, I thought this was kind of hokey, but then I met all the people and I was like, there's no way this many good people would be involved with something that isn't cool and right. So just a quick few announcements. And literally when I say quick, I'm talking like we're going to hustle through this because I've made it really easy for you. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Zoom, play nice now. So in our group, you're going to find this document. This is in the files section. For those of you who parlez français, Ambrose Sard has translated this into French. It's a Summit recap and a look forward. And essentially what it is everything that happened at Summit, except for Double Time, just because that's coming out in November, so I didn't really cover it. So tonight's events, then as we go through, we have new products coming out. Clean Week, this thing I think is fantastic. What this is essentially is a week-long, you can run a free week-long group where you get to just introduce people to our programs, what Beachbody's all about, and the way it works, it happens on the front end. So it's not like they need to enter their credit card for a free 14-day trial. This is just something that's accessible for people. They go through, they do this week of workouts. What's really cool about it is Megan Davies, who's the trainer pictured here. Megan goes through and she calls out workouts from the different programs. So she'll tell you, oh, this is a 21-day fix. This is a 21-day fix move, or this is the shift shop move, or whatever it might be. And so people can kind of get into, this is what I want to do. So what I did with this document was I pulled together a promotional video for you. If there's an informational video, you have that. And then the FAQ. All the links are in here. You've got costs for you. I've tried to make it as easy as possible. One of the things about Summit that I hear over and over and over again, including for myself, is the overwhelm. It's like you come back and you've just been, inundated with an avalanche of information. So I tried to just pull together, let's just get all the relevant stuff right here in one little spot. Again, this is in the files section of the Fit Club Network Coaches group. And grab this, share it with your people. This is to be shared as widely as it can possibly be. The next thing, we have new products, Daily Sunshine. Daily Sunshine, again, there's a blog post about it that will explain more. There's a customer promo, and then this is more of a training video, this one here. And then the FAQ, of course. So that's going to give you like the knowledge you need. Daily Sunshine is sort of, I don't want to call it Shakeology Light necessarily, because it's really targeted at a different market. And the interesting thing about Daily Sunshine and what I tend to think this whole thing is about is one of the problems we have or complexities with our company is Shakeology. Going international becomes very difficult with Shakeology because it's very hard to get approved by all of the different authorities you need to get something like Shakeology approved through. Daily Sunshine is a more simple, straightforward product that doesn't use things like ashwagandha that, you know, a country may have never really looked at before. So this is something that allows us to, I think, open up additional markets, which is really, really cool. There's also this nice little comparison chart that's in here. And all these are all just images, right? You can grab those, you can use these. Apparel, I want to talk about this really quickly. This is super exciting. I just randomly, I walked into the Core, which is the store that they have there, and I was like, you're looking at all his shoes, and I mean, just a crazy amount of shoes. And so I just grabbed somebody who was standing behind the counter and said, hey, can I get some help with the shoes? It happened to be this woman named Deb, and Deb is the manager of all the apparel. She works for a company called, Brand Partners. I totally spaced on the name. I'm sorry. Anyway, she works for this company, and this company is the one that is overhauling the entire apparel line. So a lot of what you may have seen at the Core, if you went to Summit and you saw a lot of stuff in the Core and you're like, I don't know, a lot of this looks the same. It's because they're overhauling the entire line. And what she showed me some stuff on her phone that is really outstanding. Some of it is like you're seeing here on the screen with Autumn, and it's very, very kind of branded, big logos, that sort of thing. A lot of it is more subtle, like this Nike swoosh type of branding, but it's with the Beachbody swoosh type of branding. The shoe line is really, really exciting. I got to try on some of the demo shoes. They're fantastic. I wish I could have bought them. They're going to be available in January. They'll be available through teambeachbody.com, also through retailers. So Nordstrom's, I mean, those types of retailers where people buy shoes, they're going to be able to buy Beachbody branded apparel. What this does is, and because a lot of people have kind of been like, what shoes? I know, it's outside the box, but that's how these people think. You know, if it's outside the box, they've considered it because that's what they do, which is why I love working with these guys, because they're constantly trying to innovate and constantly trying to come up with new stuff. So the shoes will be available there. What it does for us, though, is it gives us another point of sale. The shoes are a little bit different because we don't get volume on the shoes or commissions on the shoes, but it gives us another thing to say, buy this thing, come closer. You know, a lot of what we do really is about depth of relationship. So it's like in the beginning you meet somebody and it's like, oh, I'm interested. And then, okay, well, now I'll become your customer. And now I'll become your customer with Shakeology. Now I'll become your customer with Shakeology and BOD. And now I'm going to become your business partner. And now we're going to be really kind of bonded together. This is just another point of contact. And by the way, the shoes are awesome. Really excited about that. Also, big announcement for us. We're going to get 10% commission on apparel. In the past, we've never had commission on apparel and no one's cared because, quite frankly, the apparel really hasn't been anything to write home about. So now we're gonna get that. The UK launch. Oh, see, this is my OCD brain just drives me nuts. Like this should be on a separate page. I'm sorry. The UK launch is coming up in October. That's very, very exciting. Again, I've got links to the Facebook group here. I've got links to the FAQ. There is, for those of you who have people who are UK prospects, there's going to be a webinar that's going to happen Monday. And details for that I'll post in our group and I'll add them. So this thing is is a bit of an evolving document. I just found out about that about 20 minutes before our call today. So I'll post that. I'll just add that to this. I also have Team Cup coming up. This is all kind of the stuff that Carl talked about. Don't want to go into that too much. The diamond bonus, I want to highlight one thing. Michael talked a little bit about it on the surge, but I want to make sure that everybody is clear about what it is that's required, okay? In order to qualify for the diamond bonus, you have to make Success Club in all 3 months in that quarter. This is something that's going to get overlooked, and there's going to be a bunch of people who don't qualify in July just because they weren't paying attention. And they said, you know what? I'm going to start my next group August 1st. I'm all fired up. I'm all excited. I'm going to get my shift shop group or whatever it is that you're doing started August 1st, and they're going to miss July. We cannot allow that to happen. The people who are on this call, we're the leaders. Part of your job as a leader is to make sure that information gets out. And so you've got to make sure people understand you need to make Success Club in July. You still have time. What is it? It's the 19th today. So you still have time to make Success Club, but that's got to happen in order for you to qualify for the new diamond bonus. I think that's really cool. Also, I would really highly recommend if you were not at Summit or like me, you just weren't in the room when this happened. I don't know how I missed this. I've been waiting like 4 or 5 years for them to update for a major technology update. This video will walk you through the technology update. For those of you who are kind of like, what? I don't even know what that means. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to stop that share. There we go. Sorry, Zoom's acting up at me. One of the complications we've had as we have gone through a lot of growing pains with our company is that we're on different platforms. You know, teambeachbody.com and our Coach Online office are on different platforms. BOD is on a different platform. So they don't talk to each other and play nice together, unfortunately. And so there's a lot of seemingly simple things that are difficult to get done, or you have to call coach relations. You've got to work through this, work through that. What we're doing now is Beachbody spent $100 million between OnDemand and updating the rest of this to get everything on one streamlined platform so that we don't have to deal with, you know, something happening on teambeachbody.com, something happening on BOD, and something happening over, you know, maybe on in the back office. It's all going to be like a nice streamlined process. Super excited about that. The other thing that's covered in that video that I didn't cover in the document that I just went through is the 10% discount for on-demand customers, essentially. We used to call them club members. I still do on time to time. So if you hear me referring to club members, that's what I'm talking about. That's going to go away in September. Originally projected for December. Carl just put his foot on the accelerator, and knowing him as well as I do, when he says we're doing this, that people are doing it. And if people have to stay late, then people stay late. So that'll happen sometime in September. I don't think we have an exact date yet, at which point we will get full commissions for people who sign up to be pod members, because that's really how things work. This is another really positive sign for me in the overall health and development of our company, because we've been asking for that. When they went to the on-demand platform, we said, well, everyone's going to be an on-demand member. So what that means is instead of getting a $32.49 commission on Shakeology, we're now getting $19.49. That's a big hit to us. And BOD is such a fantastic value. Why do we need this 10%? And I know some of you have marketed that, and I've had discussions with some people. I get it, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, while this may initially be a little bit painful and you're going to have to change your marketing, ultimately it will end up being a net benefit for everybody, because they're already getting, yeah, Andy is saying if somebody needs to mute themselves. Maybe I should just do that really quickly. I usually just do, but I'll just mute you all. How about that? I'm like Kim Jong Dave. I can do what I want. So that 10% discount will go away in September. 2 other quick things, and then I'm going to seek out Ryan and maybe somebody else to talk really quickly. Maybe somebody first. Somebody really quickly, well, before I talk about my stuff, if this was your first summit and you want to just say a couple of words, which I would really, really appreciate, about what you thought about it, please type in the chat below and I'll just come to you and unmute you. I want to hear from somebody. I had somebody lined up and then it turned out she's like presenting on the French version of what's happening right now because we have all these Quebecois fantastic people. So if it was your first summit, I would like to interview you for just a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, no big deal. Like this won't go, on your resume or anything. It's not recorded. Well, it is recorded. It is on the internet, but you won't be on the news or anything like that. Don't worry. So, two other things that are important for us in our little universe that we call the Fit Club Network. The first one is the relaunch of fcncoachtraining.com. That is our coach training website. That has been my muse for I don't know how many years now, trying to figure out how to wrap my head around redoing that. This year has been really it's just been such a unique experience of like growth and trying to like do something different. I knew we had to redo the coach training website. 7 days was just not enough. It's worked for several years, but I built that coach training website before OnDemand existed. So there's no reference to that. Some of the numbers are not correct. Things have changed a little bit throughout the years. And so we needed to redo it. And I figured as long as we were redoing it, I didn't want to just go back and do another 7-day quick start training. I wanted to make it more in depth and I wanted to give people some levels to go through as we did it. So I spent a lot of time researching, as I'm somewhat prone to do, but I spent a lot of time researching and figuring out, okay, what are other coaches doing? I talked to a lot of people, what's working, what didn't work. I was more interested in what didn't work. And looking at what Beachbody has for their coach training. Beachbody's training, I think, generally is really good. The major problem with it is it requires people to run coach basics groups. That's a lot of work. It just is. And at the end of the day, it doesn't happen. We can make up all kinds of reasons why it doesn't happen. The truth is it doesn't happen. People don't run coach basics groups on a consistent basis. If you've been running a coach basics group starting once every month for the last however long, I owe you a medal, seriously, because that's a ton of work and it's a huge commitment to your people. And thank you, seriously, because you're probably seeing results from that. So the idea was, okay, how do we recreate something that people can use? They could use it. I'm just gonna let my dog out. Go on. Sorry. They can use it in a coach basics type of format that it's flexible, that people go through and it's self-paced, and that includes most of what people need as they get started. So I took on Beachbody's first 30 concept, which is the first 30 minutes, first 30 hours, first 30 days. And we run with that. And that made sense to me because new coaches are going to get an email from Beachbody that's entirely out of our control that says, hey, go do the first 30. Well, this is your first 30, right? So you can transition people right into this training. Your job as a sponsor now, instead of having to run a new coach basics group every single month and get every single new coach that's in there, which is probably not a big group of people who are also on Facebook, which is, while it's a fantastic resource, is the single most distracting place on the entire planet. Instead of that, you have this resource. Your job is to shepherd them through the process. So one of the things that's going to be important for you if you're sponsoring coaches is that you know what it entails. Very, very important here. You don't have to do all the training, especially like you might be a Star Diamond coach who's doing 30 Success Club points a month. You've got to just know what's in there if you're going to leverage it properly. For example, I ask people right at the beginning, I say, look, there's 4 reasons that people become a coach. The first reason, typical 4 reasons, and people are somewhere in between these, but these are kind of the 4 major categories. Discount, pure discount person. If that's your coach, they don't need to do the training. There's no reason for them to do the training until they're maybe ready to move up, and that's when they should start the training. You've got to know that. The second reason is for people who want to make enough money to get their supplements paid for, right? Just to make $100, $200 a month in order to get their supplements paid for. And actually, that is a surprisingly large number of people. I did surveys and found all this information. The third group of people is people who want to make $500 to $1,000 a month, cover a bill, save up a little money for college fund, that sort of thing, right? $500 to $1,000 a month. That's by far the largest group of people. That's the largest group of people. And then the fourth group of people are people who want to do this full time. This is going to be your new job, if you will. And so I train them accordingly, right? And I tell them throughout the process, hey, if you're a type 1 person, you really don't need to go much further with this training. If you're a type 2 person, the 4 vital behaviors are where your focus should be. I believe that if you just want to make $100, $200 a month, the 4 vital behaviors are plenty. However, if you're a type 3 or a type 4 person, you want to make $500 to $1,000 a month, you want to make this a full-time income, there's more that's involved. So they go through, they do the first 30, and then after that, the second month, they're going to do the playbook training. Playbook training is a deep dive on all the stuff that's in the first 30. So we're saying the same thing in more and more depth. And so it's just sort of like increasing in volume for them. Instead of, a fire hose in somebody's face, it's just this constant kind of spoon feeding of people. But your job as a sponsor is really to go through and understand what I'm doing with them. One of the big things you need to understand as a sponsor is the goal setting day. That's a big one because I ask them to set 30, 60, 90-day goals. The big one with that 90-day goal is to be a success starter if it's a new coach, right? Make sure you're a success starter. If not, make sure you're a business starter 3 months in a row. That just gets you on my radar screen. After they go through all that training, I'm paying attention. I'm watching to who does what. You guys know I do all the recognition, the volume, the Success Club, leadership ladder, all that. And I'm going to start working one-on-one with people and doing more one-on-one mentorship with people who are team builder level people, strong emerald level people. That's what I'm going to start doing. I've been working with the team leaders. I've worked with all of the team leaders now, which is cool, which is great actually, because I know everybody, which has been this last year has been so much fun doing that. That's fcncoachtraining.com. So you just need to be familiar with it. The other thing I will just tell you from a recruiting standpoint, when I get somebody who's like, I just don't know if I can do this, what I'm telling them now is, well, we have this website. It's a really valuable training resource. Go check it out. Just go check it out. The feedback I'm getting is, okay, that looks easy. That looks cool. It looks professional now. It didn't really look professional before. And so, hold on, Lee's asking me a question. Good question. As far as email goes, so this is future stuff. This is where we're at now. Where we're at now is here. Where we're going is over here. So that's a good question. The first thing is it email delivery or is it self-service? Right now, it's just self-service. I wanted to get right now we have 20 lessons over 30 days. I think that's going to swell to more like 25. I've made it so that it's a little bit flexible so that as you guys and our coaches go through it, I can get some feedback from them, send them surveys and be like, okay, here's what's missing. And okay, great. I was talking to Ryan today and was like, oh my gosh, this would be so great. It's FCN Coach Training. FCN is in Fit Club Network, coachtraining.com. This would be great for it. And I was like, oh wow, that there was a book. I got to go buy the book. I got the audio. It's not very interesting. I'm going to get the book. That's fantastic training. We should add that into the first 30. The way I've built it, it's really flexible. So it's kind of like an accordion. It can kind of move. And so we're not so locked in like we were with the other one. Thank you, Ryan. Email. Right now, there's no email attachment. There will be. It'll be more of like a, hey, are you doing it? Hey, are you doing it? Check in with your sponsors sort of a thing. I might consider doing it as a fully delivered email thing. I'm open to that. So let's test it and let's see what works. The other thing, and I know we don't have a lot of French people on this call, but all the videos are going to be translated into French. I've got some fantastic Quebecois people who are helping me with that. The videos at just a service, they'll have French subtitles on them, and then we'll be adding all of the French resources. So if there's homework and you're supposed to print up like the 30, 60, 90 day goal sheet worksheet. There's a French version of that. My French is really bad, and so to go find that is sort of a crazy adventure. So I've enrolled people to help me with that. So that's coming, I'd say probably, I don't know, 45 days, something like that. We'll have it all fully functional in French. So again, if you're coming to people and there's a language barrier, right? You can just tell them, look, hey, go to this site, check it out, hit the CC button on the video, and the French subtitles come up, and everything's there in French. We're ready to go in French, and we'll do the same thing. That the sources that I'm using for this stuff, we'll be able to convert that if we open Germany, for example. We'll be able to put German subtitles over everything. So we're sort of like we're anticipating some future expansion, which is really exciting. That's one thing. Next thing is Healthy Bod Challenge. Yeah, Spanish will be on board too, Katie. Good question there. Spanish is next. We're going to focus on French first because the French people right now, the Quebecois, are just killing it. The Healthy Bod Challenge. Healthy Bod Challenge, what we're doing right now, we're going to be tweaking a little bit in the future, but I want to get you guys focused on this. We're doing a month-over-month challenge. Every month, we're giving away to 5 people. We're giving away 5 top prizes for a 30-day challenge. And this is going to evolve a little bit, and we're kind of talking about this in the background. But right now, I want to get you really focused on it because we're coming up on the end of the month. At the end of the month, you should have had people who took pictures at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, they can submit for a 30-day transformation story. We pay out 5 levels. The top one gets $300. The second one gets $150. The third prize gets $25. Fourth prize gets a T-shirt of their choice. Fifth prize gets or kind of a revolving prize. This month, I think it's going to be it's all put away. A sample of the Daily Sunshine. I picked up a couple of those. We'll use those for giveaways. So we're sort of like using that in order to help people. That's something that I think is really, really important that you guys really need to start to just focus on. Again, beginning of the month, have your people take their day ones, okay? The sooner they take them, the more dramatic their after is going to be. It's really about, right now, a 30-day transformation. So that's Healthy Bod Challenge. So what I want to do, I know I've got Ryan here somewhere. What I want to do now is I want to do 2 things right now. First of all, I have not gotten anybody who's messaged me who's their first summit and they want to talk. So one of you, I'm just going to go ahead and put on the spot. So somebody just messaged me and tell me it's your first summit, and I want to ask you a few questions about your experience and how it went for you. But what I want to do really quickly is hear from Ryan Chapman. Oh, there's a question. Yeah, Becca. So Becca asked a question about the Healthy Bod Challenge. Yes, it's free for them. They need to be your customer. It's the challenge. This is a really good question. Thanks. It's open to customers and coaches on our team. So it's open to coaches too. So if you have a discount coach and that's all they're doing is I'm not excluding them, right? Because that's not why they're here. They're not here to make a bunch of money and be a coach. They're here for themselves and their own fitness journey. So let's bring those people in and let's include them in the party because that's what they're here to do. So it's open to coaches and customers. Like Pablo Diaz, who's one of our coaches. I think he's on tonight. I think I saw him earlier. We got a lot of people on tonight. But Pablo was one of the winners, and Amanda, we're one of the winners. That's cool. I love it. I love to see coaches win. That means we're doing one of the 4 vital behaviors, which is being proof the product works, right? So I love that, and we really want to encourage that on our team. So what I want to do really quickly is, again, I'm looking for somebody who's a first-time summit goer. Somebody give me up. Otherwise, I'm just going to randomly go to somebody and put you right on the spot. But I want to go to Ryan really quickly because Ryan, for those of you who don't know Ryan Chapman, Ryan and I met, like 2010, I think it was. 2010, I was really into cycling and triathlon at the time, and I was using P90X and Insanity to cross-train for those programs. I found, awesome, Chrissy, you're up next. I found that these programs were making my fitness journey so much more incredible. I was crushing people on rides. I actually wanted to show you guys this. So we all have like our shift shop markers, right? This is my little home base marker, and it says I'm an athlete on it. And I love this I am thing. I saw some people doing that in the test group, and I used to have this written on my helmet. I had it written like right here on my helmet, on my cycling helmet, so that when I went flying by you, you were like, who's that guy? I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy who just crushed you, because I do insanity. And I was doing that. I put together some training plans, like nothing complicated, very, very simple. I'm not a certified coach or anything like that. And I found Ryan in a P90X group looking for people who were that people. And when I encourage you guys to go through and do a customer avatar and figure out who you're trying to market to and who you're trying to talk to, that's exactly why. Is because when you do that, you will find the people who will really become your lifelong business partners. And that's really what Ryan is. Ryan's my PS coach, I guess, but Ryan's really a business partner. That's really how I look at Ryan. And we were talking today, and I just said, hey, man, would you come on and just share your experience as somebody who's been to, I think, 4 or 5 summits now. I'm not sure he can talk about that. 6 summits now. What this one meant to you, and just a little bit of insight on that and what we all went through. So I'm going to unmute you, Rhino. Rhino, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. I had to go to my phone out in my workout shop because my computer was giving me trouble. So I don't usually Zoom on my phone, but I'm here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my summit experience and some things that I talked to my team about while I was at Summit, because I think it's really important. I have been to, like Dave said, 6 summits, and 2012 was my first summit. And I had an amazing 2012 summit, and I don't think I have had the same experience at Summit until this one. I had some other experiences that were great, but I didn't have the same experience that I had at the very first summit until this one. And I had a very, very similar experience at this summit with just more experience under my belt on top of it. And I've told this story a lot of times, but in 2012, when I went to Summit, I was a new diamond coach. I barely scraped my way, like clawing my way into diamond before the cutoff so that I could make the diamond party at Summit in 2012. I wanted to go to that diamond party, and I wanted to be diamond before Summit. And I did some things. I sold my soul to make it to that diamond party. I mean, it was like, I was barely a diamond, right? And so I went to that diamond party, and I had a great summit. But one of the things that happened there was, I would look at all these other coaches, and I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you look at the coaches up there on stage and you hear, like back then it wasn't like this, but nowadays the ones I hear a lot are the double superstars and the triple superstars. And you're like, I can't even fathom that. Like, I don't even, like, what is that? What are you talking about? It just blows your mind. Like, how could you even get, like, I can't even make diamond, or I'm going in and out of emerald right now. How am I supposed to make triple superstar? This is crazy. And I had this epiphany when I was sitting up in the high levels of the Grand Garden Arena at MGM, which is nowhere near as big as what the high levels are now. It's the Superdome. But I was up, in the cheap seats, as they say, with Carrie and Adam Klaus and a few other people from FCN. And the winner of the top coach award that year was Wayne Wyatt. And Wayne got up there on stage, and he started kind of just talking, and he wasn't really a great speaker, and he kind of told a little bit about his story. And I know that there were other people around me in that summit who were saying, I sure wish I could be up there like him, and I'll never be up there like him. And I just happened to do the opposite that day. For some reason, I looked down at Wayne Wyatt, and I was like, he's not any different than me. Like, he's just not different than me. He's just done the work. And he actually believed that he could be the one that was on stage. And so he did it, and I just had this like change in belief system. And from that moment on, like I looked over at Carrie Klaus, and Carrie will tell you, Carrie and Adam both, we looked at each other and we both said, I'm going to be the top coach in 2013. That's what I'm going to do, which would be recognized at the 2014 summit. But I was going to be the top coach for 2013. And that moment right there, I really attribute a lot of why I actually was number 33 in 2013 out of the entire company. So I didn't make number one, but I'm pretty okay with number 33 out of like, I don't know, there's like 250,000, right? So it's part of what propelled me. And I look back on those years, and I look back on 2000, the end of 2012, and what I did to set up for 2013 and all of 2013. And here's the takeaway that I had this year from Summit is that all of the stuff that I did, all the technique that I used, the way I talked to people, how I found prospects, all the technique, the sales stuff, the how-to that I did during 2012 and 2013 and 2014 was important. But if I had not said to myself, I will be number one, and then here's the key, believed that I could be number one, it would not have mattered what I did, because you cannot build the what on top of bad philosophy, lack of self-belief, all those kinds of things. You have to have the right philosophy to build the how on top of, right? And so, the last few years, what's happened to my team, I built my team to 7-star diamond. I made elite 2 times, 2013 and 2014. Near the end of 2014 through 2015 and 2016, I had some things that totally rocked my confidence. They rocked my belief in myself, in my ability to run a team. And I started saying things to myself like, you're not capable of running this team. I started saying things to myself like, you don't actually have what it takes. I started saying things like, you're a poser. These were things that were happening inside my head, right? They weren't true. They were things that were happening inside my head, but I had diamonds quit. I had, my team fell from, 7-star down to 1 star, and income started to go down, and volume started to go down. And all these things started happening. And the whole time what I was looking for is, what can I do? What things can I do to change this? I was looking for, what Facebook ad could I run to make this happen? What, technique could I use to change this? And what I realized at this summit was that what I had was what they call stinking thinking. I had in my head that I wasn't capable. I had in my head that I wasn't worthy. I had in my head that I wasn't capable of doing it. And so I started talking to my team, and I realized that I had put my team, partially me, partially them, it's not all on me, but, they had gotten into a space where we call this now, I'm going to refer to this forever now as the yada, yada, yada. Now I'm a 15-star rule, which is they would go to Summit, and I would go to Summit for the last few years, and they would hear a 15-star get up on stage, and they would say, I struggled with this. I couldn't do this. I was only an emerald for 2 years. And then I did this personal development, and I believed in myself, and yada, yada, yada. Then I was a 15-star. and my team would be like, but I want to know what the yada, yada, yada part was. Like, what did they do? I don't care about the I believed in myself and all that crap. I don't want the touchy-feely crap. I want to know yada, 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 what did you do? And so I had this epiphany at Summit this year. I was like, you know what? We all already know the yada, yada, yada. We all already know that. It's on the FCN training site that Dave just put out. It's on my training site that I already put out. It's on the Beachbody training site. It's in every, YouTube video you can Google on Beachbody coaching. All the yada, yada, yada stuff is all out there. The defining difference is that when you take the 4 vitals, right? Chrissy, you have the 4 vitals. When you take the 4 vitals and you stack them on top of lack of self-belief, you lose, even with the same vitals that someone's doing that with self-belief, right? And so, that all sounds great, and some of you are probably going, yes, 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 right? At least I hope you are going, yes, yes, yes. But sometimes this can be a slippery slope. So one thing that I'll say to you is that self-confidence, self-worthiness is really where I'd put it, not self-confidence, because it's not about like pretending like you know it all when you don't know it all, because guess what? You don't know it all, right? It's not about being a know-it-all. It's about self-worthiness. So I'll change it from self-confidence to self-worthiness. It's about believing that you are worthy and capable of creating success for yourself. And when you can get to that point with yourself where I think about it, like when I was having conversations in 2013 and 2014 with people, it was like I felt so self-worthy, self-confident, however you want to put it, that when people would say no to me, it just absolutely wasn't a big deal. It was just like, well, you're missing out. Okay, cool. Talk to you later. And I would move on to the next person. And I literally would but then I told my team a story at Summit. I said, I remember this specifically in like 2016, I was talking to this one guy, and he's he works at a nutrition supplement store. He's super ripped. He always asks me questions about Beachbody, and they feel attacking to me. Like he doesn't actually believe in it. Like he thinks it's a scam or whatever. And in 2013 and 14, when I would talk to him, I just dismissed him. I was just kind of like, this guy just wants to tell me my thing is a scam, and I don't really care. Like if you want to talk to me about the real thing, then let's talk about it. In 2015 and 16, he messaged me one time. He's like, why do you get mad every time I message you? And I was like, I just realized the reason I got mad every time is because I had this like inferiority complex with him. Like he knew more than me. I didn't believe that what I was doing, I was afraid that what I was doing was a scam, or I was afraid. There was like this mental thing. And it's like, if you can get over that mental thing and you can go around talking about what you're doing with confidence, you can absolutely kill it. So I don't know. I feel like I'm like beating it, and just, you can just take it back over, Dave. But I just want to encourage you not to dismiss every time a 15-star gets up and tells you that they did self-affirmations, positive affirmations, like Mindy Wender did. She was like, I had to give myself positive affirmations. I had to tell myself, you are enough. Like Stuart Smalley crap, that you're like, oh my God, this is like the touchy-feely crap, like, please do not dismiss that. Like you have to have self-worthiness and self-confidence in order to do this, or none of the techniques will work. So if you're like one of those ones that's been around 3 or 4 years and you're like, I've tried every technique you've ever told me and none of them work, maybe that's what you need to think about, is like, do you actually believe that you can do it?
Yeah, I just think it's 100% true. It's why I wanted you to talk tonight and tell the story. It's, having a really strong belief system and then managing that, and understanding that. I think sometimes I talk to people. I just recently had a conversation with somebody, and she's like, oh, I just thank you for always being positive. And I was like, okay, that's yeah. Okay, you're going to have to find something else to thank me for, because I'm not always positive. I manage my attitude well. I've learned that, Ryan and I were talking earlier, and it's like what he was talking to me about is, we view the world in a binary sense, right? There's good and there's bad. It's good or it's bad. And that's not really true. Like there's all this stuff in between. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it moves. It's more like the ocean. It's not like a flat piece of perfectly level concrete, right? It's like this fluid thing that our lives go through. And it's really easy to tip in both directions, to get like way too happy about some great thing that happens. This happens a lot when people hit diamond. Sorry for the helicopters, they're busy tonight. It happens when people hit diamond for the first time and they just get so pumped up. And then a couple of weeks later, they have the minimum qualifications to hit diamond, because that's how you do it for the first time. They fall out and they go to bad. And it's either good or bad. I'm either really good or I suck at this. And it's like, that's not how it is. Instead, it's this ebb and flow. And I've just learned how to manage that. I've learned how to not stick in either one of those two places for too long. Sometimes I do, and I mess it up. But like Ryan said, I think that the number one thing is belief in yourself and having a big why. When you understand what it is that you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, you'll figure out the how. It's amazing how just kind of goes, right? Once you understand what it is that you're trying to do and really why you're trying to do it. And then you have this just degree of self-belief. The other thing I'll say really quickly, backing up Ryan on self-belief and self-worthiness and self-confidence, is that it's like a muscle. You've got to build it. And the only way to build it is making decisions and taking action. I did not have a lot of self-confidence or a lot of self-belief when I started this business. And that may sound crazy to you because I was in my 8th year of law practice and I should have had all the confidence and belief in the world. I didn't. A lot of that has to do with my childhood, and we could spend here 4 hours talking about that tonight. But I didn't. What happened was I started to go out and make decisions and take action. After a while, I figured out that more often than not, I was right about things. And when that happened for me, I started to build some confidence. This is probably a good decision. This is probably a good decision. I'm probably doing the right thing here. And yeah, along the way, a lot of people said no, and that's fine. That's what people do. They say no, and that's great. No, not everybody wants to be a lawyer. That's fine. Not everybody wants to be a Beachbody coach, and that's fine too. So thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make I kind of changed it to self-worthiness almost, because I think self-confidence is so it's so placed around the idea that you do something, it goes well, that develops confidence, right? And I get that. That's a true statement. You'll develop more and more confidence the more action that you take. But if you believe that you're not worthy or capable of success to start with, it just doesn't matter. I mean, you're not gonna make it, and I actually had an analogy that I was thinking. I love analogies, like it just works for me to do analogies. And I was thinking, like when you're building a house, that the foundation is really your philosophy, right? Like you can't build all of the lead generation and sales tactics and challenge groups and everything that you do in your business on top of no foundation. And then maybe like the roof is like how you actually mentor and coach people or something like that. Like that's the analogy that I had. The only problem with it is that then people, if you really play that analogy out, it doesn't work, because you would have to wait to build the entire foundation of your entire house before you could start building walls if you went with a true and that's not how this works. It's like you have like this tiny little piece of a foundation and you have to build a wall on top of it, and then you build your foundation and your walls all at the same time, right? Like they all kind of happen at the same time. So you could think about that you can't build walls with no foundation, but you're going to have to build. It's like you're adding on to your house all the time. You got to build a new foundation with more walls, but you got to build on top of a good philosophy, basically.
Yeah. And I think you're right. There's a good distinction there with self-worthiness. I think you have to believe that you're worthy of success. And if you're struggling with that, maybe think about the impact that you're going to have on other people, because I'll tell you, if you stick around long enough and you do this business long enough, you're going to impact a tremendous amount of lives. And it's really selfish not to dig in and do this work. And if you're the type of person who wants to give to other people, this is one of the best ways you can possibly do that. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I want to go to our surprise volunteer. So I'm going to mute you. Hey, Chrissy, how are you?
Hello. I'm great. I'm going to try really hard and follow all that up.
No, you're fine. Well, I wanted to get kind of two different ends of the spectrum. Obviously, I've had 10, and Ryan's got 6. So this was your first summit?
Yes.
Yes. So aside from overwhelming, what was your sort of major takeaway from summit?
Honestly, I really wasn't overwhelmed.
Good.
It just kind of like reaffirmed everything that I've been trying to believe. And it's so funny that everything you guys are am I glitching?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm like on my screen, it looks like I'm glitching. So I wanted to make sure. So everything that Ryan just talked about is literally what I've been doing with my personal development in the past couple weeks. And I have a really funny summit story. So I am an Emerald coach. I'm not making like a ton of money right now, but I do the 4 vital behaviors. I'm like still trying every single day. I actually sold like a bunch of like high-end clothes on Poshmark and Facebook to be able to go to Summit. And I like booked my plane ticket on a credit card, and I mean, there's like nothing I wouldn't do to be able to go. And I was just going on like this leap of faith. And there was things that went wrong leading up to going to Summit, and I overcame like a huge fear of flying and like being away from my child to go. And it was like just really emotional. And I do a lot of things, like I'm into like manifestation groups, and like all the spiritual stuff, like angel numbers and all that. And so I literally the whole time I was getting like 222, 111, 444, 555. Like every time I looked at my phone, I was seeing these sequences of numbers, and they were pretty much just all the meanings say like you're being guided in this path, and and whatever bad happens. Like my coach wasn't able to go, my direct sponsor. She missed her plane and was really, really bummed about it. And it kind of like, I was like a scared little baby. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at the airport by myself. My partner is supposed to be here. I have no idea where I'm going. None of the other team is going to be here till like 7 in the evening. I was just sitting there in the airport, like by myself. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I had to like take control of the situation, and it totally made me like grab the whole thing by the horns, and I called the lady for the house, and she was like, oh, you're fine. Go check in early. Took the shuttle over there, was able to take a nap because I traveled all night. I got like 1 hour of sleep the night before. I left Tuesday night from California, got there Wednesday morning. It was kind of like, poor Chrissy, she's here by herself. She went through all this stuff. And Carrie Casserly was in our group, and she got to have a +1 for the Success Club 10 All-Star Legends. And she was like, you know what, you worked really hard to get here. You have all this stuff going on. Why don't you be my +1? So I got to see opening ceremony, like from the floor. And I mean, it was like the most magical thing, like the entire thing. I felt like I was watching the Grammys in person. And I was just like, the vibes that I got from it were so empowering. And I could literally see myself walking across that stage, waving at everybody. And, I gained so much self-confidence, and I gained so much, like Ryan said, self-worth, because I was like, I can do this. I can really do this. If they can do it, I can do it. And all the training workshops were like so phenomenal. Bonding with the team, I was, I felt like I've known them for years, and everyone was so warm and inviting. I got to take pictures with top coaches, and that I've idolized over the past almost year. I'll have been a coach for a year in September. And I was just, the whole thing was insane. I mean, like, towards the end we were taking Ubers everywhere because we were tired of walking so much. But, like the whole thing was just, it was great.
So
okay,
now that you've been to Summit, and you've seen kind of the bigger picture, right? I think it's, we operate in, I know this happened for Ryan. I'll speak for him really quickly. We operated in this little world where he and I had this great relationship, and he had this great relationship with our team, right? And then he went to Summit, and he was like, I kind of just thought it was you and this this organization that we call our team. And now that you've been to Summit and you've seen kind of the bigger collective thing, how has that changed your determination in light of, selling clothing to get there and doing everything you had to do to go?
It just made everything so worth it. Okay, no. She was shushing me because I shushed her. So it really just, honey, please stop. It kind of, thank God all of you guys have kids too.
Totally, I get it.
Stop. It's not funny. It's not funny. Please stop. Okay. So it was like I forgot the question, but basically the whole thing was just like, it made it all so worth it. And it made it like, I literally I've added 3 more challengers to my group on Monday. I had 1 personally sponsor coach, recruit a coach today. I have 2 more coaches signing up on Friday. So I'm like, as soon as I went there, I was able to like envision everything. And I'm doing the Josh Coates training in the month of Team Cup. So I think that's no coincidence. Lee was asking us, yes, I love you, Lee. She was asking us to, oh yeah, I met Tony. I didn't even see any of these things. Yeah, I got to meet Tony Horton in the freaking airport. So I was like, oh. Lee asked us to make goals, and I made goals that make me want to puke, because that's what I need. I need to push myself, and if they can do it, I can do it. There is absolutely no reason. Like, there's nothing about it that makes them so much more special than the fact that they really believed in themselves. And, you know, I do positive affirmations. Like, my favorite one is, I can handle massive success with grace. Because, you know, being a leader of a group, it's scary. It is, you know, to think about having a big group to run. But it's like, you know, ever since all of this happened, the universe is just like opening up all these doors for me. And it's just telling me, you can do this. This is what's going to happen. Boom, 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 boom. The whole thing is magical. It changed everything about it, changed my life.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for volunteering to share. I think that's, I appreciate that, first of all. I have to wrap this up because I want to respect your time, and we've already come off of Carl's surge, and now we're doing our thing. So thanks for that. I think, you know, the big thing I wanted to interview somebody who just come from Summit for the first time, because I really want you guys to express the importance of getting to Summit to your people. Again, it's a $295 ticket. That's $145 right now until Sunday. And that ticket, I'm just looking at my notes, that ticket's refundable until December 31st, and it's transferable until April. So, you know, right now is the time to commit. One of the things we talk about when we do the playbook training, the first rule of the playbook is be here a year from now. Give this thing at least a year. You've got to learn how to do a lot of stuff. Nobody, in 10 years of doing this, I've never met anybody who has come into this business who's 100% prepared to just go and kill it. Nobody. I've had super, super fit people who didn't know anything about business and marketing and relationships. I've had people who were lifelong network marketers who needed to go and have a fitness journey with our products. Everybody's got something to learn. Give yourself the time. Be patient with yourself, but get registered for Summit. The commitment level and what that means for your business is what will change you. If you promise, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be, and hopefully you're, Chrissy and everybody, your goals have something to do with where you're going to be a year from now. I'm going to be there a year from now in Indianapolis, and it's going to look like this. All right. So that's my big push for Summit. Where I want to finish is with Shift Shop, and something that Carl just announced that just blew my mind today. So the Shift Shop, the big Shift Shop group is starting. I think it's Monday. We're starting on Monday. I have my markers already. I showed you my first one, which says, it says I'm an athlete on it. That's really a healing thing for me. I'm recovering from a shoulder injury that I'm finally able to start really working out again, which is cool. It's been a really long process, and that's the number one thing I care about. This is why I've always been a Beachbody customer for 14 years. This is why I became a Beachbody customer. I was a basketball player. I tore up my knee, and I had ACL surgery. It didn't heal right, and I was no longer an athlete. And at age 31, I was an old man, and that's unacceptable. And I'm an athlete. So that's the first thing. Again, I told you I love those I ams. My second one is the red one. It says, remember everybody deployed. That's a bit of a personal thing for me, but important and motivating. Excuse me. And the last this one says, I'm a Team Beachbody leader. This is so important to me. This business thrives through leadership. That's what this thing is. If you want to build a team and you want to have a lot of success, you have to lead your people. Part of that, honestly, is just creating structures for them to be successful. That's it. It's creating structures for them to be successful, organizing, getting your people registered for something like Summit, getting them at the Super Saturdays, getting them involved with stuff like the Healthy Bod Challenge, making sure they go through FCN coach training. I've tried to do everything I can to establish structures for people to be successful. The last one is the orange one, and it's blank. And it's blank because that's what's possible. That's what that represents to me, is this is what is possible. And it's infinite. It's endless, okay? Carl announced today that if you're on the My Challenge Tracker app and you log 6, I'm gonna have to, there's an FAQ that's coming out on this because he just announced it. And I was like, did he really say that? I actually went into like our 5-star leadership group and I was like, what? If you're in the My Challenge Tracker app and you post 6 shift shop workouts a week, and 7 Shakeologies. So you drink Shakeology every day and you shift shop on the schedule. 10 people every week are going to win in the first week. 20 people in the first week are going to win $100. 20 people in the second week are going to win $100. 20 people in the third week are going to win $1,000. Giving away $20,000 the third week of this thing, just for people push and play, man. Like drinking Shakeology and pushing play. Like I just can't fathom and imagine another company that would do something like that, as just out of a pure desire to help people get results. That is the whole mission statement of this company, is to help people achieve their goals and live healthier and more fulfilling lives. I 100% believe that is exactly what we do and who we are. And I'm so proud to call myself a coach and to really work with all you guys. It's just been an incredible journey, an incredible honor. 10 years later, here we are. There's Lee, he's like, on here. Lee, can I unmute you really quickly, Lee? We got to wrap it up, but I want to know, you're, I was going to say old. That's not the right thing to call you, but you're a veteran coach. I don't know. Where are you at with this whole thing right now?
With Summit, with my business. What do you mean? What whole thing?
Just your thoughts on where we're at.
I think we're about to really have a shift in the business. I know there's a lot of questions about what are we doing? We took away so many products, and I have the same questions. We changed our platform. We don't sell DVDs. There's a lot of what's going on here? But I think along with Ryan, when I believed I could do this, I did this. And somewhere along the way, you just enjoying life and kind of going, well, where am I with this? Watching other people rise up. And I think what the foundation that you guys have been talking about, in your belief in yourself and believing and doing and growing, is where it's at. So each and every one of you that's well, they're all doing this, like Chrissy said, she believes in herself. She knows she can do it. She's giving herself positive affirmations. I think that's where we all need to be collectively, myself included. But I'm more excited to be with this company today than I was 10 years ago, because I know that we're prepared. We're going to the UK. That was such a crazy thing. When we started this business, Monica and I were pounding the streets literally saying there's less than 10,000 coaches. This is this, you want to do this. And now my mind is blown. We're way over 250,000, close to 500,000 coaches. And there's still so much opportunity. He was telling me, I think it was Andy was telling me today, he was in Uber at Summit, and he's like, the guy didn't even know what Beachbody was. This market is not saturated. So, and that was at Summit, right? Everyone's a Beachbody coach. I'm excited. I might not always be excited, but I'm excited. And I've got a lot of work to do. So I'm right in the trenches with you guys. And I'll stop because we're done.
No, we all do. And I'll leave you with this. That whenever you're talking to somebody, here's a little thought that you should just plant in the back of your mind. This could be the next Lee Ratterman. Okay? This could be the next Ryan Chapman. This could be the next Chrissy. This could be the next big person in this business who's going to go and do something that is kind of crazy, and maybe do the best thing that's ever happened in your business, which is that somebody that you brought in passes you. just keep that in the back of your mind. You have no idea who you're talking to and what they could potentially do. You've got to believe in everybody that you're talking to and their ability to do this thing.
And,
Yes.
and just one thing that I think is missing is help them see the bigger picture. You know, getting them to Summit, yes, but if you can't get them to Summit because Summit's not for 12 months, somehow, and I have to work on this because I have people in my business that could do so much more than I've ever done. Only they're busy and they don't know that this is their key to freedom and financial comfort and whatever. I struggle with how can I get them to see that? So if you can figure that out, you know, you need to share that, but do that. Whatever it is, that's so key for you. So let me share that.
100%. 100%. And on that note, we're going to wrap. So thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for everybody who came to Summit. You know, for those of you guys that I got to meet, I'm so glad you came and said hi to me. I always appreciate it. If you didn't come and say hi to me, I got a couple of messages from people and they're like, well, we saw you, but we didn't say hi. I'm like, what? You didn't say hi. You've got to come and say hi to me. If we're in an event in the future, I want to get to know you guys. I want to get to talk to you guys. So I thank you for all your hard work. I thank you for all your effort. I thank you for helping us advance the mission of the company. This is such an exciting time, and we need to like capitalize on this momentum. The other thing I'd mentioned briefly, Team Cup. Get that Team Cup together, okay? Get involved with that. Everybody have a fantastic night. Thank you again for your time, and let's go do this, okay?
Thank you, Dave.